Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock. It's time for another video, and today we're going to be talking about ACAAN. We're going to be talking about any card at any number. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I'm basically obsessed with the any card at any number plot from the Quantum deck that I bought out a couple of years ago. I think most projects that I've been involved with have had an ACAAN on it at one point or another. I know that Cube 52 that's just come out had an any color at any number. My Monsters trick that came out through ACAAN last week, that's got an any monster at any number. I put an ACAAN on the Beyond the Stebbins project. I love ACAAN, I really do, and I think it's a running joke that, any project I'm involved in, the boombox, anything, I try to shoehorn an any card at any number in there because, a lot of magicians, they think it's a trick just for magicians, but realistically, at the end of the day, what it is it's something that's completely impossible. And as long as the audience are aware at how impossible this trick is, then I think it becomes very, very impressive. Well, it does. I've performed it in, every venue imaginable for years, and it never fails to get a great reaction as long as you make the audience understand how impossible it is, just from, the odds, just from a gambling point of view, to have a card picked appearing at a number that's picked. Now, there's various different things with ACAAN. Some people say it should be a pure thing. Some people should be a gaff deck. There's lots of different approaches, and all of them are good in my opinion. There's lots of different ways of approaching ACAAN. Some of them are card at any numbers, not any card at any numbers, and that's fine as well. There's a little bit of an argument about it. It's kind of like, well, hang on, is this an ACAAN because they're naming a card as you're spreading them out the deck? Some people say, well, a pure ACAAN should be the deck of cards is put on the table and left, and then not the whole idea is they name a card and a number and then you deal, and that's absolutely well and good. I don't think that that's great, but I think that you can deviate from that and still have an incredible trick. And what I have on this video is I just wanted to perform 4 ACAANs, and they've all got something in common. 3 of them use a regular shuffled deck of cards in use, no gimmicks, no extras, no nothing. And one of them has a kicker, which I won't talk about until later on, but it has a kicker. And because of that kicker, you can't really call it a regular deck, but everything's examinable at the end. So all of these routines, everything's examinable at the beginning, at the end. 3 of the routines can be gone into at any point in your card set, which is what I really like about this. You can have the card shuffled, you can come back, and you can immediately go into 3 of these routines. So what I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to perform all 4 of them for you, explain about why I like them and why they have merit. And the cool thing is, anybody who's a subscriber of the Netrix, these are getting uploaded to the Netrix in the next week or 2 as well, so you can actually learn all the handlings and the nuances and all the different ideas with these as well, so you can learn everything about them and why they work. And we're going to go into detail with the tutorial on exactly what makes them work from my point of view, having performed them in the real world for a very long time. But without further ado, we're going to look into it, and we're going to start off with the first routine, which is called Pure. Let's have a look at a performance to Jack of Pure. Well, how you doing, Jack? You all right?
I'm good.
Give the cards a shuffle. I'm going to show you the greatest card trick of all time. Now, this is officially the greatest card trick of all time.
What's a bold statement?
Well, magicians did a poll amongst each other, and they tried to figure out what the greatest card plot is. Now, by plot, I mean what happens in the card trick. You probably don't know this. There's millions of plots in Magic, and this is the one that won out. And I think one of the reasons is it's kind of an urban legend amongst magicians. Everybody's heard of this trick, but nobody's actually seen it done. At least seen it done, and at the same time had all of the requirements for this trick hit. And we're going to try and do each one of those. Now, there's 3 aspects to this that need to be hit in order for it to be considered the best trick of all time. And the first aspect is that you have to name a card. Because if I had you, do this, I might make you pick one. I wouldn't, I'm trustworthy, but you never know. So, name a card, Jack.
9 of hearts.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I don't want you to say I'm cheating. Well, I'm going to cheat, I just don't want you to say I'm going to. You're happy with the 9 of hearts, yes?
Yep.
Now, the next aspect is that this card needs to be in a position in the deck where nobody knows where it is. So I'm going to pop it right there, into the middle of this half. Say stop.
Stop.
I'm going to put it into the middle of this half, just like that. So the card is lost somewhere in the deck. And I'm going to give the cards a shuffle. I'll even give them 1 more shuffle so the cards are lost. And I'll give them a couple of cuts as well. We'll give them 1 cut, We'll give them 2 cuts. Done. Now, there is another aspect to this, which is the number. There's 52 cards in a deck. You've named any card. You have to name a position in the deck from 1 to 52. That's where Michael's going to come in. In a minute, you're going to name a position. But before you do, let me explain what the trick is called and why it's called it. This trick is called any card at any number. ACAAN. That's an acronym for any card at any number. And just in case you didn't realise, I wrote down underneath best trick ever. And that's what it stands for, any card at any number. So we've hit the any card part because you named any card. In a minute, we're going to hit the any number part because we're going to allow Michael to name any number or any position in the deck. Right, Michael? But there is one other aspect of the trick which isn't included in the acronym. It's that the spectator has to shuffle the cards. And once the spectator shuffle the cards, the magician can't at that point change the order of the deck. Because I shuffled the cards a second ago, but maybe you think I did some sort of TV magic shuffle and somehow I was able to control where the card was that you named. And maybe I paid Michael off earlier on and I said, hey, mate, name a particular number, which I wouldn't do. But just in case you think that's the case, the other aspect of it is for you to shuffle the cards. So give them a shuffle. Now, that's not included. It should be. It shouldn't be ACAAN. It should be any card at any number from a shuffled deck. But that would be more like ACAAN shuffle, which wouldn't be anywhere near. Something like that, yeah. So I'm not going to touch the cards. However, the next aspect of this is for the number. Now, Michael, I've given you a few seconds to think about this number. It's time that you told us. 52 cards, 52 possibilities. Name a position.
14.
Okay, 14. You want to change your mind?
No.
I know what's going to happen. At some point in the next few hours, you're going to be sitting there at your desk, happily editing away, thinking, what would have happened if you'd have named a different number? And I don't want to make that mental turmoil go over and over in your head. If you want 14, that's fine. It's interesting you pick 14 because that's my IQ. But if you want to go... Shut up. If you want to go for a different number, now is the chance.
How about we're going to change it? Go for Jack's IQ of 9.
Hey! First of all, he's right. But also... 9? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you want to, I could go down to 14 and you could really mess me up. Or we could go with 9. It's up to your choice.
You'll stick with 9.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the thing. If he'd have gone for 8, it would have been the Queen of Hearts. You did not name the Queen of Hearts. If he'd have gone for 10, it would have been the 7 of Diamonds. 11, 12, 13, 14 would have been the Ace of Clubs. You could have gone for any position in this deck. But remember, ACAAN, any card at any number. There's certain parts to it. You have to name a card. What was your card again?
9 of hearts.
You have to name a number. You went for 9. And the cards have to be shuffled. You shuffled the cards. I didn't change the number. That's the 9th card. And now you can tell everyone that you've seen the greatest card trick of all time. Now, this uses a sleight that I first talked about a couple of weeks ago when I published on the Netrix and performed on Magic TV a routine called Thanks to Darren. And it uses my version of a sleight that Darren Brown published in the Devil's Picture Book. And in my opinion, the way that I actually do the sleight makes it a little bit more manageable to me. The way that Darren did it, it was very, very difficult for me to nail every single time. But the way that I approach the sleight, it made it easier for me, and the retention of the sleight is incredible. Now, I'm not going to talk about the sleight because you can learn that on the Netrix. That's already up there. You just search for Thanks for Darren. But the point is, this is the sleight that's used in this routine. Now, the cool thing about this routine is, like I say, it's a regular deck of cards. So you can go into this routine after performing any other trick. And it doesn't have to be a full deck. And the reason is you're spreading through the deck and you're telling them to name a card. So you say, hey, name a card, any one that you want to. You know, I'm going to go through them. Which one would you like? Or I think in this particular routine, in the performance, I had Michael name a card and I spread through to say, okay, you could have had any one. That's important because, you know, when you're a working pro, a lot of the time, cards are going to get ripped up, they're going to get signed, they're going to get destroyed. And towards the end of a gig, you're probably not even going to have a full deck of cards anymore. So by actually having the deck spread out and having someone name a card, it guarantees that that card's in the deck. Now, purists are going to say it's not technically in any card because you're spreading through the deck. And I understand that, and that's fine. From my opinion, I think that when you're creating a magic trick, There's certain things that you are happy to make sacrifices with and certain things that you aren't. I have no problem with somebody naming a card. From the audience's point of view, it still feels like a freely named card. If you go, hey, you know, which one of these would you like? Name one, any one. It's a lot fairer than, I'm going to riffle my thumb down the deck, just say stop. It's a lot fairer than that. And it really does feel like a named card that they could have named any card. Of course, realistically, they can. The other nice thing about this is the approach to it. Having that card in your pocket with ACAAN on works really, really well. And when I first came up with the routine for this, I was putting a joker down, and it didn't really make sense as to why I was putting a joker on the table. I was just like, hey, there's a joker here, we need to get rid of that. And I was putting it down on the table. And that's an approach. You can do that. You can say, hey, I need exactly 52 cards for this deck. There's a joker in the deck. Let me put it down on the table. We'll get back to it later on. That's fine. But I do like the idea of bringing this card out and saying ACAAN, because it allows me to talk about the mythology behind this trick and why it's so incredible, and talking about the odds and the statistics and so on and so forth, and asking them, do you know what ACAAN stands for? It's an acronym. It stands for any card at any number. By putting that card down on the table, at that point, I'm done. So from their point of view, they've named any card. Now I can give the deck out to be shuffled. They can shuffle it as much as they want to. Without changing the order, I can take the deck back and I can have somebody name any number. And it makes no difference. And I can very slowly count to that number. And again, purists will say you should have the spectator deal. And again, that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to exchange. I don't mind being the person that's dealing through the deck as long as I'm doing it in a very fair way. If I'm doing second deals, I'm not too happy about that. But if I'm doing this, where I'm just literally very cleanly going to their number, I don't see a problem. So from the audience's point of view, they name any number, they name any card, it's a shuffled deck of cards, that card gets put down on the table, and then I'm done. Now I can say, hey, you could have picked this number, that number, that number, that would have been this would have been this. And then I take that card that was laid on the table and I say, remember, any card at any number, you've got to name a card, you've got to name a number. And there's a reason for that card to be there. And the fact that I just dealt the card down on the table doesn't, because that any card at any number card is moved out the way before the final reveal, that's where the focus is. And from the audience's point of view, the cards were shuffled, any card was named, any number was named, you very cleanly went down to that number from a shuffled deck, and that card appeared at that number, and it's a regular deck that you can then go into any other routine that you want to go into. So it's a really nice approach to the plot, and it's a very interesting way of doing it, right? Now, the next routine, we're going to be looking at a completely different way of doing this. And it's a completely different approach. I'm not going to say anything. It's called HPC. We're going to look at this first of all, and then when we've looked at it, I'll talk about what I like about this. Jack, first of all, this is a regular deck of cards. Give them a shuffle, give them a mix-up, make sure they're all okay. There are genuinely no gimmicks, no extras. It is what it appears to be, a regular pack of 52 cards.
Nice.
You happy?
Yep.
Cool. If you're happy, I'm happy. Nice.
That's good.
So just a couple of aspects to this trick. And I know you've seen any card at any numbers before, and the important aspect is that you have a free choice of any card. So come a bit closer, and Jack, you can have any one. As I go past, which one would you like?
7 of spades.
Now, do you want to change your mind? You can do if you want to. If you want the 7, that's fine. If you want to change your mind, that's fine.
I'll have the 7.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. So you're happy with that 7? Actually, I've just thought the whole point of this is there's also any number, and you know where the 7 of spades is. So give them another shuffle if you can. That'd be good.
Ooh, plot twist. Oh, I need to learn more shuffles.
That's fine. You're good. Are you happy with that?
Yep.
So think about this for a minute. You shuffle. I'm not going to change the order. You shuffle the cards into that position. Yes?
Yep.
And you've named the 7 of spades. And the next part of this is for Michael to name a number. Michael, there's 52 cards in the deck. Name a position from 1 to 52.
13.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can deal 13 cards. Look, make sure I don't cheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, are you sure you want 13, yes?
Yeah.
12 would have been the 8 of clubs. 11 would have been the 9 of diamonds. You didn't pick either of those cards, did you?
Nope.
This is obviously the card, but if you'd gone one more to 14, it would have been the 6 of spades. 17 would have been the 10 of diamonds. You get the idea. You could have picked any one of these, but you went for one card and one card in particular. What was the name of the card again?
7 of spades.
And you went for any number, which was 13, from a deck that you shuffled. That is a miracle.
Whoa.
I know, right? It's crazy, yeah? So anybody who knows me knows that I love coin magic, right? And I've performed coin magic for years, and one of my favorite sleights in coin magic is the Hang Ping Chen, or the HPC sleight, right? And Hang Ping Chen is something that I've done for years, and variations of it, like the Gallo Pitch. I think that it's one of the best sleights if you're doing coin magic or magic with a purse or with an Akito box. Hang Ping Chens are great. And it was a few years ago now that I realized that you could do a Hang Ping Chen with a deck of cards, and it would work basically the same way. And it was when I was playing around with Steve Bedwell's toss control. If you know Steve Bedwell's dribble toss control, and I was playing around with that, and I was workshopping it because I was trying something else, and I was like, you know, you could take that dribble toss control and you could use it as a switch in a very clean way. And that's when this whole routine was born. But again, it's a shuffled deck of cards. There's not even a card that you bring out in this one. So shuffled deck of cards. Now notice the justification for giving the deck back to the spectator to shuffle. In this particular scenario, again, I spread through and I say, name a card. And when I'm in a gig, a lot of the time I say, look, I don't have a full deck of cards here. I've had cards ripped up and folded up and signed up. There's not a full deck. So name one of these as they go past, which seems really fair. And then immediately when they do that, I go, hang on a minute. I've just thought, you know where the position of that card is in the deck roughly. I can't have that. Can you shuffle? And in the action of handing them the cards, I have a reason to hand them the cards to have them shuffle it again now. It makes sense. And as soon as those cards come back, I'm done. I'm now in position. I don't have to do anything else. Because now at this point, I'm there. The cards have been shuffled. I've taken them back. I haven't changed the order. And now I can have someone name a card and I can deal those cards onto the table. And I love dealing them in a kind of a spread like that because it really illustrates the point that they named any card, they shuffled, and I've just dealt to that position. Now, in Magic, there's, there's the on-beat and the off-beat, I've talked about this on the channel an awful lot. Guy Hollingsworth has a lot of work on this, which is when a slight's done, it needs to be done on the offbeat when people aren't really paying attention. And that's what happens here. So you get through to that chosen number. Now you're saying, well, hang on a minute. You could have picked that number. You could have picked that number. Now you take this deck and you go, well, hang on. You did pick this one, but you focus attention over here. But if you've gone for this one and this one, and it feels really fair, and the switch happens just when the audience aren't really paying attention to it. You're just putting that card down there because you're having them focus on the cards that are around that card. And yet the actual switch itself, you can burn the magician's hands and they won't see anything because of the way that it works. And applying Hang Ping Chen to playing cards, it means that the visual is really, really strong. And if you actually think about this routine and really think about it, again, the cards are being shuffled, they name any card. The cards are shuffled again, and you have a reason for them to shuffle it again. You deal down to any number, you show the cards around that number, and then you show the card that they landed on, and it's their card. It's great. And it's a very interesting approach to ACAAN, which has been done before, the approach of switching the card. But a lot of the time that switch takes place at just the wrong moment. But because of how strong this switch is and the way that it's all framed, it's a really strong moment. And I've performed this to magicians live at events and conventions, and they're like, what? I completely missed that. And that actual Hang Ping Chen applied to playing cards, there is so much more you can do with this. I'm telling you right now, this Hang Ping Chen switch with playing cards, and I'm going to be talking about this again on the Netrix in the future, but there's so much you can do with it. And from a commercial point of view, any deck. And again, when you're performing card magic, you have to think of any type of magic. You have to think about justification. What's my justification for anything? So when you're spreading through the deck, what's my justification for having them name a card? Well, it's because there might not be a full deck, so they could name a card that's not in the deck, in which case that's ridiculous. It all kind of makes sense and it all kind of flows. So, next, we're going to look at a routine called Kicker. Okay, and this does not use a regular deck of cards, but everything's examinable at the end. But it's a really interesting approach to an ACAAN, and it's definitely worthy of talking about. So let's have a look at Kicker. We got a pack of cards here, mate.
Yeah.
52 cards. Actually, I'm lying, there's probably 54. We need exactly 54 cards for this trick. So I'm going to take out the jokers. We do not need the jokers. All we need are the 52 cards, because this is a trick called any card at any number. And I know you've heard of this before, but for people that haven't heard of it, the idea is that somebody names a card, somebody names a number, and that card is at the number in the deck. That's basically what any card at any number is. So there's two parts to this, and the first part is a card. So do me a favour, just say stop. Stop. There we go. Now, are you happy with the card? Sure. Well, you're happy with the 5 of spades.
I like the 5.
If you're happy, I am absolutely ecstatic. Now, the next part of it is that 5 of spades is shuffled into the deck. So I'm going to shuffle that card into the pack, and I'm going to keep shuffling until you want me to stop, at which point I'll stop.
Stop.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can carry on if you want to, or are you happy?
I'm happy.
Hold the cards like you're about to deal cards. And the other part of this is naming a position in the deck. So there's 52 cards in the deck, Michael. Can you name a position from 1 to 52?
16.
16. I want to deal 16 cards face down onto the table right there.
Okay.
So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Very good. We're going to put the rest of them over there out the way. Now think about this for a minute, and I really want you to think about this. You could have gone further if you wanted to. You could have gone further back, but you ended up on this card at this position. Michael, you said 16.
Yeah.
What was the card again? It was
5
the
of spades.
5 of spades. And believe it or not, this card here at this position is the 5 of spades.
Whoa.
But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, that's pretty good, right? But
That
what
is
would have
really
happened if you'd picked any other number or any other card? Well, it wouldn't have worked.
Why?
Well, because 14 is blank, 13 is blank, 12 is blank, 11 is blank, 10 is blank, 9, 8, 7, 6. All of these cards are blank. All of these cards are blank. You can examine everything, and the only card that you possibly could have got was the 5 of spades in position number 16.
What? Oh.
No idea. So that's Kicker. Now, what I love about this, and I first created and performed this when I entered the close-up competition at Blackpool Magic Convention way back in, I'd say, 2002, 2003. It's the first time I entered the close-up competition. And I didn't win, but this routine really caught people off guard. I had so many people coming up to me afterwards because I switched this deck in halfway through the performance. So I was performing, and I got to a point where I was making coins. I was doing John Carney's version of the slot machine. So I started with the card trick, and then I was doing the slot machine thing where I end up with loads of coins that get tipped into the wine glass. During that, the cards were switched. So at the end, when I came back to them, nobody had noticed the switch. So I took the jokers out and just completely threw everyone off guard. But the cool thing about this is, okay, they don't get a free choice of any card. They're not saying a card out loud. You're forcing the card. So technically, it's definitely not an any card at any number. It's more of a card at any number. But again, from a layman's point of view, from an audience's point of view, they feel like they've had a free choice, right? Lay people don't understand about forces. They don't know about forces. But then you've got that lovely moment where one sleight, and that sleight that you saw me do where the card gets lost into the deck, is a Matthew J. Dowden sleight. And it's amazing because that one sleight does everything that you need. It loses the card into the deck. It keeps it in a position where you know where it is. It's, the cards are being shuffled. They say stop anytime they want to. And then immediately at that point, you hand them the cards and they deal onto the table. And then at that point, they've dealt, and the card that they named or freely picked is the one at that position. And it's really nice because the sleight that allows you to achieve that when you're pushing the cards off to one side is all tied into the control at the beginning. And that Matthew J. Dowden slide is brilliant. Now, there's various people that have done a similar sort of load on before, like David Jonathan Toucan, but obviously his approach is very different because they apparently can name any card and there's multiple kickers. But when that deck turns blank at the end and it's all examinable and you go, well, you could have picked any other card, but all the others are blank, and then you show that every card is blank and they are all genuinely blank except for that card. I mean, how killer is that moment? That moment right there is so strong, especially when all the cards are examinable. And it's why I closed my competition act with this, because, you know, as long as people don't see it coming, and they never do, it feels so fair. So that's called Kicker. It's great. If you do walk around, if you do mix and mingle or table magic or restaurant magic, and you want to do something that really kind of nails them, this is a routine that absolutely does that and then some. So that's called Kicker. Now we're going to look at one final routine, which is called Slip Off. And this is another version of ACAAN with a regular deck of cards. It's got a very nice beat to it. This is designed to work in a walk-around situation. So I'm going to perform this to Jack, who is probably sick to death of ACAAN at this point. I'm going to perform it to Jack, and then we'll talk about why I like this so much. Give the cards a shuffle for me. There's three aspects. I'm sure you've seen at this point now about 7 million versions of any card at any number. You probably don't understand my obsession with any card at any number, but don't worry, because no magician understands my obsession with it either. It's weird. It's bordering on insanity. But
It's good to know.
yeah, good to know. Do you see a card that you like?
Yeah, I like the 10 of hearts.
That one there, you sure?
Yeah.
Because I don't want you saying later on I made you pick the 10 of hearts. Are you happy with the 10?
I like the 10.
Okay, so we're going to pop the 10 here into this half, just like that. And we're going to put this half here on top. You can take the whole thing and you can shuffle them if you want to. Give them a good mix up, and then when you've done that, put them down on the table. Just give them a quick mix up. So now we have a situation where we don't know where that 10 is. It could be somewhere in there, but we don't know where, right? So Michael, he's picked a 10 of hearts to shuffle it into the deck if we don't know what position. Michael, you are going to name a number from 1 to 52. Go for it.
16.
16, are you sure?
Yeah.
Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Can you do me a favour? Can you hold your hand out for me? 15 cards. This is the 16th card. Now the 15th card would have been this one here, which is the Joker. The next card, which is the 17th card, would have been this one here, which is the 2 of clubs. But you said 16, which is this one right here. What was your card again?
10 of hearts.
I think that's pretty impressive. What do you guys reckon? Miracle. How did you do that, Jack? How did you shuffle that card into that position? So this one is just great. It's just very, very cheeky. And again, technically, you're not having, you know, you're not saying name a card. It's not an ACAAN where the deck's put down on the table and you say name a card, name a number. I'm going to deal to that position and the card's there. That's great. I mean, that's the holy grail. But like I said, when you're creating magic, you make sacrifices. And in a real world situation, I've probably been using this deck for something else. So, you know, I've probably done a 65 phase ambitious card routine. Now I'm going into this. I'm having the card shuffled again. Hey, do me a favor, name a card. Oh, you want that one? That's fantastic. That's a really good card. I like that card. Whatever. It feels from the audience's point of view like they're naming any card. The really nice thing about this is the way that you're actually getting into position is just beautiful. It's and this is something I've done for quite a while, to be honest. Even before the Hang Ping Chen. The Hang Ping Chen thing came after this. Or did it come before? I think this came before. I can't remember. But anyway, it's very nice. It's a little bit, I refer back to HPC because in essence, it's the same concept with both of these routines, which HPC, the card is switched just at the right moment. And that's the same with this routine here. But while HPC is more really intended for formal close-up or somewhere where you've got a table that you're performing in front of, this is designed for more of a walk-around situation. So they literally name any card, apparently, they name any number, legitimately. You take the cards off, and again, they're not dealing, but I don't see an issue there. You're taking the cards off to that position, and then when you ask them to, and this is really important, justifying movements and justifying actions, when you ask them to hold their hand out, which is a perfectly natural thing to do, because you've got cards in each hand, hold your hand out for me. that's when everything takes place, and it's so clean that and again, it's an offbeat. You're bringing attention to something else. In this case, you're bringing attention to them. When you say, hey, hold your hand out, it's human nature. Everyone's going to look at that moment right there. You've shifted the point of focus from here to over there. And that's all you need for a split second as you give the cards to them and you say, right, okay, well, you know, this is the card right there. You can have them look through those cards. You can take this card off and put it in someone's hand. You can get somebody else to look through these cards. It's very, very fair. And their card has appeared at that number, which is cool. Now, I will say with this routine and also with the first routine and the second routine, so with both pure, HPC and slip off, all three of these routines can be made to have a named card if you use a memorized deck. Now, everybody knows, if you see my project forecast, I love the memorized deck. I also love the invisible deck, but that's a different thing. I love the memorized deck, and I think you can achieve so much. And there's some amazing ACAANs with the memorized deck. I published one on my Penguin Live, which I love. Obviously, you've got ACI wins any card at any number, which is considered a classic at this point for many, many reasons. But if you have a memorized deck stack that you can have someone name a card. So take this routine, for example. Rather than having someone name a card and then having them shuffle the deck and bringing it into a position where you need it, which in this case is the top of the deck, you can literally just say, look, I've got this deck of cards, give a few false cuts, and you can just say name a card. And if they say Jack of Hearts, for example, in Netrix, you know that's 20 cards down. I can do an estimated cut, all round square up. I see I've got 19 on the bottom, 20 on the top. Brilliant. I'm in the same position, but they freely named a card. And the beautiful thing is, because you're spreading the cards out without dealing them down onto the table, I'm not changing the order, which means that when I have this particular routine, for example, which is the slip off, with this one, I can literally put the deck down on the table, have them name a card. I can either do a few cuts, or if you don't want it to look like you've cut the deck, I can get a break and do a pass to the 20th position. Brilliant. Okay, you sure you want that position? Yeah. You're going to name a number, 15. Now they deal 15. Now you take 15 cards off. It's not changing the order at all. Now you get them to hold the hand out. You do the move. You hand them the cards. That card's put down here. Boom, it's the card at the position. Great. And now all I have to do is take those cards back, put them on top of here, take this card back and put it on top of the deck, and I'm instantly reset. I'm back in stack. I just need to cut the 4 of clubs to the top and I'm back into a position where I've got my stack intact to be able to do anything else. Same with HPC, same with pure. The difference is with HPC, you would want to spread the cards out, or if you wanted to deal, you'd have to reverse that deal in order to get back into stack. But the point is, if you want to use a mem deck, you can eliminate having to control the card and shuffle the cards off. But I didn't want to make this video about mem. I've done enough videos about mem decks, and I know some people don't do a mem deck, and I didn't want to put you off. I wanted to show you how you can actually do this with a mem deck. But a lot of the times I will use a mem deck for the 3 routines with a regular deck, because it just makes it even cleaner. Now, you can do it with a regular deck, and for sure I do it all the time with a regular deck, but if you use a memorized deck, it becomes more like that pure version of ACAAN that we're all striving to achieve. Either way, slipstream or slip off, whatever I'm calling it, is a wonderful way of achieving that moment. And as I say, very similar to HPC, you just decide which one you prefer. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you do ACAAN yourself? What do you think of these routines? The cool thing is, all 4 of them are going up on the Netrix on the next upload. So on Monday, you're going to see these routines go up on Netrix, as well as a couple more. We're going to do a bunch of tutorials going up on the Netrix this week, just to say thank you to everyone that is a subscriber. And as you know, for the last 1.5 years, we have uploaded at least 5 tricks every fortnight, and we have never missed an upload. So you want to learn them, go to the Netrix. If you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.